So there's this video making the rounds, and it's making a pretty wild claim that the United States is no longer the safest place on earth for your money. It's arguing that the whole global financial system has been turned upside down. Today, we're going to break down that argument piece by piece and explore this idea of a quiet financial coup. Let's jump in. The source material kicks things off with this really dramatic quote. You see, for as long as pretty much anyone can remember, the one golden rule in finance was that US government debt was the safest asset in the world, period. The entire premise of this video is that this fundamental rule, it didn't just bend, it completely shattered. So if the US is supposedly out, who's in? Well, according to this video, the new king of the financial hill, the world's new safe deposit box for trillions of dollars in global capital is Canada. The core argument is that the world's smart money, we're talking the huge players, the sovereign wealth funds, the giant pension funds that manage trillions, has basically lost faith in the United States. The video claims they are actively pulling their money out of what they see as a chaotic US market and parking it just north of the border. So what could possibly trigger such a massive shift? I mean, we're talking about a system that's been in place for 70 years. The video points to one single event, one catalyst. A typically dry, frankly kind of boring financial report that it says just became the biggest story on Wall Street. At the absolute heart of this whole claim is a metric called the Systemic Stability Score. The easiest way to think about it is like a credit score, but for an entire country. It tells those big investors how safe their money really is. And for decades, the US has been at the top, the risk-free gold standard that everyone else was measured against. And this is the moment the video says everything changed. It alleges that for the first time ever, the US got downgraded, citing political chaos, while at the exact same time, Canada got upgraded for its stability. As the source puts it, the student has just surpassed the master. Now the video says, okay, a report is just a report, right? But it claims this isn't just theory. It then presents what it calls 5 receipts. 5 pieces of hard evidence to prove that this isn't just a number, but a real-time flood of capital moving from the US to Canada right now. So let's look at these 5 so-called receipts. They cover everything from the bond market to the tech industry, real estate, and more. Let's dig into each one to see what kind of case the video is really building here, starting with the big one, the bond market. Okay, receipt number 1, the bond market. This is basically about how much it costs for a country to borrow money. And the source claims that for the first time in modern history, global lenders are now demanding more interest to lend money to the US government than to Canada's. They're charging what the video calls a chaos premium, which is a pretty shocking sign of trust. All right, next up, currency. You know how in a global crisis, money has always fled to the safety of the US dollar? Well, the video argues that's not happening anymore. It uses this quote to say that one leader's drama is pushing investors away, while another's trust is pulling them toward the Canadian dollar, the loonie, as the new safe place to hide. Receipt number 3 is all about the brains, the future, really. We're talking about artificial intelligence. The video claims that major AI companies are moving their key engineering hubs north. And the reason, it says, isn't about the usual stuff like taxes. It's about stability and predictable immigration policies, so they don't have to worry about their top talent getting kicked out of the country. The 4th receipt says to follow the money. Literally, where are the world's super rich buying their penthouses and skyscrapers? The video points to a slowdown in luxury markets like Miami and New York, while Toronto and Vancouver are seeing a surge. The argument is that global elites are getting nervous. Their US assets could be frozen on a whim and see Canada's rule of law as a much safer bet. And the final receipt, number 5, is about the stuff that's going to power our future. We're talking critical minerals for EV batteries and all kinds of tech. The source claims Canada just locked in huge deals with Germany and Japan because those countries simply couldn't trust the US to be a reliable partner in their supply chain. So after looking at all that, the big question is why? Why would any of this be happening right now? The video argues it all boils down to one simple thing, a fundamental night and day difference in leadership. And this table really sums up the source's entire argument. On one side, you have what it calls a reactive, headline-driven strategy using tools like tariffs and threats. And on the other, a proactive, long-game approach using quiet diplomacy and soft power. The bottom line, according to the video, one manufactures chaos, the other manufactures trust. And when you're talking about trillions of dollars, trust is the only currency that matters. Okay, I get it. Bond yields, stability scores, it all sounds very abstract. Who cares, right? Why does any of this matter to you and me? Well, the video argues that this high finance stuff could hit you directly in your wallet. For folks in the US, the source says a weaker dollar means the stuff you buy from other countries, your phone, your coffee, your clothes, it all gets more expensive. Plus, if it costs the government more to borrow, that could mean higher interest rates on your mortgage and credit cards. Now, for Canadians, a stronger dollar sounds great. Your money goes farther. But the video has a warning. Being the new financial top dog could also paint a big economic target on your back. So, where could this all be headed? The video ends by painting 3 pretty dramatic, and frankly pretty scary, potential futures. First, a scorched earth scenario, where the US retaliates, possibly sparking a huge recession. Second, a Wall Street revolt, where big business steps in to force a truce. Or third, the breakup, where the two economies go their separate ways, creating what it calls an economic Berlin Wall. And that brings us to the final, really big question the video leaves its audience with. Is this all just Canada playing defense, protecting itself from an unpredictable neighbor? Or is it something more? A calculated, quiet, and absolutely ruthless takeover of the top spot in global finance. It's a provocative way to end, and it definitely makes you think.